Welcome to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol. I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetize this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of...
I'm Don and Ellie.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared. All right, there we go. Ha-ha! Welcome back, horror fans. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. That means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. The only podcast where if they catch us, what are they going to do? Embalm us? Thank you, show. And for all of our podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can interact directly with the show. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history, August 8th through August 14th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me tonight are Eugene and Alex.
What's up, everybody?
What's happening? Wednesday already? What the fuck happened to Monday and Tuesday? Hey, I got a really fucking important question for you guys. So if there's like space battles that are going on, and the lasers are being shot, now the lasers miss, where do they go? Do they just keep going infinitely into space? Because if I'm just fucking around on some other planet where I'm nowhere near this war and I get smoked by a laser from these assholes fighting each other, I'm going to be pretty pissed.
Technically, yes. Unless affected by a gravitational well, then yes, the lasers would continue on infinitely.
Science is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I was thinking you were going to ask a sound deal. It's like, is there sound? Is there like explosions? Like, no. Firefly and Interstellar got it correct. Pretty much everybody else gets it wrong. There's no sound.
Yeah, no, it's quiet.
But yeah, the lasers,
I'm worried about
laser
the fucking lasers that are,
shooting.
Because you could be, a million light years away, and we could get smoked by some ancient galactic battle that we didn't know about. It's been a weird week.
Lasers are dead years. They've been dead for eons and stuff like that.
These are the questions that we trouble ourselves with. Oh, here goes the go. All right,
big brain hour, bitches. What's up?
So, welcome everybody. Let's see who's in the live chat tonight. See who we got here. All right. Got Prime Red says he was first. Prime Red, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. And Surf, good to see you, says the banana splits. Now that's horror. Yes, I can't wait to dive into this one. I freaking love that movie. Charlie Welch, the only man you never make a bet with, says present and accounted for. Good to see you, Charlie Welch. Nice. One of our amazing patrons, as is Surf. And Sarcasm, hello, peeps. Hello, Sarcasm. You should be getting a delivery here pretty soon. Something special. Let me know when that arrives, and make sure we get a picture of that because that was a special thing that you got. And the Jordan is here. Oh my God! And the Jordan is here. Says 3 weeks in a row. That's amazing. Yes. Thank you so much, Jordan. Really do appreciate it. Jinju's in the house. Says hello, everyone. Good to see you, Jinju, and Glober Mom too. Good to see you. And the plot hole who demands to know who let Fabio up in there.
I had to let my hair down today, guys.
Oh, well, as you can see, there is a new background on the screen. I decided to change it up a little bit because the other one was getting a little... It was actually the dimensions on the other one. Whenever all three of us were up, you couldn't see anything behind there, and you couldn't actually detect anything. You couldn't actually see like any of the text. I was like, screw it. You can't see it anyway. So I'm putting up a background of just images and stuff. So now you can see all the cool stuff in the background. I think that might work a little bit better. So before we kick it off and we talk about the movies we've selected tonight, something I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. So the new trailer for the Dexter revival has dropped. What are your guys' thoughts so far?
Do we talk about it? It looks intriguing, as it should, and as it would, being what it is. I don't know. I would think I was more excited until I really started thinking about how they're going to take this. Is it really going to be... Is it going to hurt my heart? Because I love Dexter. I didn't like the way it ended, and I don't know if this is going to... Just seeing the trailer, I don't know if this is going to... I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. What do you guys think?
I realize it's the thing nowadays to bring back dead TV shows.
Because we're out of fucking ideas, man.
Because we're out of ideas. Because you had like the X-Files that came back, and Roseanne, and just a whole slew of other shows. And the thing is this: out of all the ones I've watched, I haven't come across one that like I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that worked out very well. Most of the time, like I'm watching because I love the X-Files when it first came out. I was watching, I'm just like, I could have gone my entire life without seeing this. It just been okay.
Right. It's not like Scream. Scream was good.
I don't know. I mean, at least maybe we can get a better ending than him being a lumberjack.
That's where I felt that they screwed up. Revival or not, revival or not, I'm actually kind of excited. And hey, Commander Darklight, good to see you. Always happy to see our patrons up in the chat. While I'm curious, I am. My curiosity is piqued regarding this, regarding this particular revival. Everybody's back. That's a good thing. Everyone who is behind the original show is back for this one, including Michael C. Hall, obviously. And I'm curious as to see what kind of, shocks or whatever, like surprise guests are going to be popping up. I'm very, very curious. But you're right. The only problem I had was the ending, was the original ending in the original series was the lumberjack thing. They should have just ended it at the hurricane, left his death ambiguous, that he went into the storm. And, just like he came in with the death of his mother, Laura, and, like this, in the trailer and, in the container, the shipping container. And then he went out with Hurricane Laura. Like a force of nature, that's what Dexter was. He himself was a hurricane that just destroyed everything in his path, regardless of his intentions. And so that's how it should have been. He came in like that, he went out like that, and then that was pretty much it. But no, had to go with the stupid lumberjack ending, which really annoyed me. It was just a waste of a good poetic ending for a beloved series. But I don't know. Now he's up north in New York, and I guess it has into whatever his new life is, and I have no idea what's going to happen with this one. I'm curious how they're going to kick it off. So I'm 70-30 on this, because Michael Hall is back in. He seems interested. Michael Hall said he wouldn't get back into the series unless the storyline met his expectations. Supposedly it has.
I don't know. He's been doing some pretty big stuff, so maybe we should trust him.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's coming soon.
Let's see. Sarcasm. Jinju says, I have not seen the original series. That's what I think you would dig it. There's a couple of seasons that are a little low, that kind of like miss the mark, that miss the mark. But taken as a whole, I like the arc, the Dexter's arc across the entire series. Every season saw him grow in some way, which I really, really enjoyed. Despite that, some the plot lines or whatever, or the people really didn't dig the Julia Stiles season. There was a couple of things that were a little bit weaker, but otherwise, it's an entirely enjoyable series. There's definitely been worse that went as long as Dexter did. There's been far worse television programs. Sarkaz says prequels and sequels are okay. Reboots suck, except for Battlestar Galactica. That was okay too. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Caprica. I didn't think Caprica was necessary. That's just my opinion. Jinju says, in upstate New York, could I give Dexter my address? and NA, hey everyone, hey NA, one of our amazing patrons as well. Good to see you. All right, well, I just want to get your guys' take on that one, and of course, you in the live audience or you're watching this afterwards, feel free to leave your comments or your thoughts on the new Dexter revival. What you think of it? The trailer just dropped. You can check it out. Just leave them in the comments below or hit us up, weekinhorror@gmail.com. All right, Eugene. Well, how about we just kick this bad boy off?
Okay.
What do we have? What do we have first?
All right. So the first film we have is Komodo, released August 8th, 1999, directed by Michael Lanetary, and starring Jill Hennessy, Bill Burke, Kevin Zegers, Nina Landis, and Simon Westaway. And I mean, if you can't pick up from the title of the film and the picture of a giant lizard eye, you have a kid whose parents were eaten by a giant Komodo, and then he returns to the scene years later with his aunt to face the creature that took his parents, and shit gets real.
And I think she said, and Jill Hennessy plays a psychologist. Yeah, that she's like, immersive therapy. He needs to go back and face his fears. And it's like, no,
it's her fault the whole fucking time. When he's sitting in the car, she can't get the fucking keys into the ignition. I'm like, it's your fault we're here in the first place, bitch. Okay.
Thank you, Jill Hennessy and your character, because there wouldn't be a movie without you. We do appreciate that.
You had this traumatic experience on this island where only thing that we know is there is Komodos and a fucking oil company. Let's go hang out there and see if maybe we can shake something fucking loose.
Yeah, well, we can definitely say that Komodo came on the tail end of the CGI toxic monsters trend that or the CGI mutant monsters trend that seemed to kick off with kind of Jurassic Park in 1993, where then everybody who had was able to scrape together a modicum of a budget was just decided you were going to produce CGI monster movies because it lends itself to horror quite well. Sadly, these are not Jurassic Park style monsters. These are goofy fucking CGI lizards that don't even look like Komodo dragons. So,
listen,
but hey,
these fucking dummy thick 100 or probably 500-600 pound fucking Komodo, they're just supposed to be normal Komodo dragons, but they're these fucking huge. They're like dinosaurs. Seriously,
they're like dinosaurs.
They're gigantic, and it's not even realistic. And the fucked up thing about this movie is having the CGI people from Jurassic Park and the fucking writers from Anaconda come together on this, and then watch what happens, because some of it's like, fuck yeah, that's super cool. And then like half of it's like, but this story just makes no fucking sense. And then you're like, what the fuck? Because that's all it is there's an oil company out there. They never really hint as to how these things got fucking mutant. There's somebody just dumps a fucking crate of eggs, and then 19 years later, they're these gigantic, underfed because their food source is poisoned by this oil company having fucking oil leaks all over the place. So they're not eating correctly, but they're these fucking, it makes no fucking sense. But then
don't you know that's how evolution works?
Yes. But then somebody shoots a fucking flare gun into one of their mouths and a head explodes. It's like, well, that was fucking sweet.
Because they were incendiary as well. Incendiary lizards.
You get a fucking flare shot down your throat. You never know what's going to happen. But all around it was a hard watch, because it was the CGI was like kind of okay for 99. It was pretty good, and I was kind of it was like, all right, I can deal with all the filming aspects of the movie. And then you get the writers of Anaconda coming, look, I wrote a book. And
dude, I mean that should be a rule of thumb. If you have to mentally transport yourself back 22 years in order to accept the movie the way it is, this is not good for your movie. The film,
when the dog gets eaten, I get pretty fucking upset.
The film did extraordinarily. The film obviously didn't age extraordinarily well. As I was about to point out, but someone in the live chat got me before it. It was Sarcasm said the color matching between the CGI and the practicals were.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
heinous, But yeah, they did. I mean, they do. You do with what you can. You work with what you got.
No, I want to know who they got from Jurassic Park. They're like from the people, the creators of Jurassic Park Dinosaur Effect. No, if you got a production assistant who kind of kicked a raptor leg one time, that does not count as the people from Jurassic Park. That doesn't. You need who's Daniel Tibbins or Paul Tibbins, who was actually the dinosaur supervisor on Jurassic Park. No, we need him.
It was the guy that was supposed to put the extra trees in the background of the scenes. That's the guy that they got.
The guy who
Clearly.
weaved the trees when the
The guy that makes the trees go wee.
And the George says, Anaconda, if it didn't try at all, Anaconda was goofy fun. This was just fucking goofy.
It's true. It's fucking true.
I will admit, I will terribly admit, and it was wild seeing some of the actors in this because some of these, Jill Hennessy is a solid actress. She's very, very good. She pretty much came to prominence when she was on Law and Order, and then of course went on to have her first big series where she headlined called Crossing Jordan. I like Jill Hennessy. I think she's a terrific actor. But wow, I mean, this is what it is. But yeah, I mean,
wow. Yeah.
Despite this, you've got the storyline was just whack. Nobody does this. Nobody reasons like this. It was just like, why are you doing this? It was like the plot of Jurassic Park 3. It's like, why the fuck? I mean, before Jurassic Park 3 came out, it was like, why the fuck are you going to this island? You don't need to go there, but So, and on top of that, you've got this this need to capitalize on the CGI monster trend. Unfortunately, I think this was a little bit too late. Because the ones that managed to nail it, before this one came out, Lake Placid and of course Anaconda, because those films didn't take themselves very, very seriously, despite the fact they had horror aspects. They recognized that there was something. It was like, I don't think either one said, "Oh, we're trying to make something really, really solid here." It's like, no, they're utilizing they're jumping on the bandwagon of the CGI giant monsters. If Steven Spielberg can do it, everybody can do it, and that's pretty much where they're going to wind up. This just happens to be on the Sci-Fi Channel Asylum area, but actually some Asylum films are actually better than this one because at least their storylines are funny and have moments. This one just took itself entirely too seriously, and
it was hard because Billy Burke is like, he's so good at like one-liners, and he's always got like good dialogue. And in this movie, it was hard to watch him. He even like, you could tell he was like, I gotta say my line now. I
don't know. I don't know if that's. His lady. He had a horror show called Zoo, where like animals turn against humans.
I started watching it, yeah.
And he was actually better than that one. It was a little forced, but I mean, because the dialogue is a little pedantic. But right. But I mean, even that was better than this. So
he was great in Revolution.
Oh yeah, and Revolution is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because the writing was great in Revolution. J.J. Abrams was behind that. So, and that's the one big thing is what struck me is, despite the fact that this was obviously, it was like a late 90s cash grab. Everybody's releasing CGI monster movies, but we can't get Stan Winston. We can't get anybody large. We can get people who are like production assistants or second or third in commands on these big ass movies. Because you'll notice on the cover of this film, like on the poster, Komodo is down at the bottom in big letters, and you got the big ass green eye. Then up above it, they make really damn sure you see that the people who are involved in this are the ones who brought this. I think it was Jurassic Park and Aliens,
Anaconda.
Anaconda. Sorry, Jurassic Park and Anaconda. My bad. And so I was like, oh come on, you're trying to sell it with people who aren't even going to be on camera. That was kind of rough for me, but. What struck me is that Billy Burke, Jill Hennessy, the individuals who were in this movie, is like, this really is the horror that you do before your career takes off.
True.
Because I think we all have done it. We've all done those. Even Angela did a werewolf movie where she got eviscerated by a werewolf on camera. We all do horror films, and everyone, even famous people nowadays, like Jennifer Aniston did Leprechaun. That was her first movie ever. I love going back and watching the horror movies that people did. Anthony Hopkins did that psychological horror film Magic. We all end up doing it until finally the big checks start coming in. So, and I just wanted to kind of like look back on that. It's like, God damn, no matter how talented you are, you're gonna wind up in one of these horror movies, trying to be like, I can have a career too. But yeah, you got to pay your dues. When you pay your dues, you're running from CGI Komodo dragons through the fake forest.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Everybody's got to start somewhere. And the thing is with horror films, you can actually get a lead role in a horror film being a no-name, and it's the only genre that you can do it on. So it's like you can be background extra number 3 at a Marvel film, or you can be a lead in Komodo. And though Marvel film is a bigger scope and its odds are going to be a better film, you may just get cut out completely.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
at least here you get something that people can see you in and steady work, and hopefully somebody watches and likes you.
It's at least some kind of vehicle. Agreed.
Yeah, it's something, and it's like everybody starts somewhere. It's just the way it is. It's either this or adult films. Those are the only two options. Those are the only two options that people got. I mean, it worked for Sylvester Stallone and Jackie Chan on it.
This is true.
So either way, you pick your poison.
What I really wanted to, because it wasn't much to dive. I mean, it wasn't a terrible amount to dive in on this one. It fell into a particular category. The acting and the writing on the film were especially great. I mean, we've definitely seen better. The film, I think, took itself way, way too seriously. I mean, if you're a fan of any of the actors, Billy Burke, like if you want to see their early work, especially Jill Hennessy, if you want to see her really, really try to sell her psychologist, character, that's cool. I mean, there's stuff you can take away from this movie. Especially if you're fans of the actors, or you want to see what kind of effects they use at the time. But I wanted to look back at the concept, these horror films that actors are forced to do early in their careers. I just wanted to check with you guys, see what were your guys' favorite horror films that we're talking like A-list actors did way, way back in the day. Like, if you go way earlier in their careers, you'll always find some horror movie that they were a part of. And I got to know which one's your guys' favorite. I'm going to throw something out there. I fucking love Michael Kane in Jaws 3. I really do. The movie is fucking terrible, but goddamn, Michael Kane still brings it. It's still Michael Kane. You're like, holy shit, it's Michael Kane, and he really fucking brought it in a terrible, terrible movie. But we can see we see the early trappings of that's Michael Kane. And you can see where, you can see, damn, you can see why other people, other directors, they look at him, they go, this fucker's got it. And this is going to be a trajectory, in American cinema. What about you guys?
I mean, right off the bat, what Kevin Bacon comes to mind. Kevin Bacon from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Where he goes, he gets, because it's like such a cool kill, because he gets the arrow that comes like drilled like straight through his like neck while he's like laying down. That's an epic kill on it. Kevin Bacon, no name, nothing, whatever. It's an arrow through his throat. I love it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Alex?
Schwarzenegger in True Lies. I'm just kidding.
Gonna be like Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls.
Who's that one chick that played in Coyote Ugly? I don't know. You started talking about Kevin Bacon. I just started thinking about like all the stuff that we talk about all the time, like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. There was a whole slew of people that came out of that ended up. I mean, even
Nightmare on Elm Street, you got one in particular. So,
what? Johnny Depp?
Yeah, Johnny Depp, dude.
Yeah. he gets sucked into the bed.
He was the one who got told.
I guess that's really the only one that made it out of that universe. Huh?
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because Heather Langenkamp and her husband now run a movie effects company out of LA. So their business, her business now is special makeup effects. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's the area of the business that she went into. Let's see what the live chat says. What does the live chat have to say? So we got Prime Red says Patrick Stewart was in the timeless classic Life Force. Yes, he was.
That was early Patrick Stewart.
Nerd Journal, Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp, damn straight. James Gatt says Return to Horror High, George Clooney.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And says Ewan McGregor. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, he played in a bunch of early stuff.
A really good Brad Pitt one was California. It wasn't so much a horror film, more of a thriller, but it was super, super dark.
How do you know that was his early days? That dude does not fucking age.
You got to go early days. You got to sit there and do like Paul Walker, Tammy, and T-Rex.
Oh yeah, hell yes. And James Gatt's right.
Dude, that's a good one.
He says Tales from the Crypt was a gold mine of soon-to-be famous people, and it was like just a trove of people. I loved the Joe Pesci episode. The Tim Curry episode was fantastic. There were so many good ones throughout all.
What about? Can you think off the top of your head anybody from like the Mickey Mouse Club era? Any of those people ever going into crazy horror?
No, a lot of them just went into music, and then they segued their music careers into acting careers.
True. Yeah, that's why I thinking maybe that's like a needle in a haystack thing.
Yeah, well, they took the scenic route.
Right. Yeah. Or
NA says Kevin Bacon was great in Stir of Echoes, and he was great in Stir of Echoes. A little bit later in his career because he still picks up the occasional horror film or horror comedy film. So good stuff there. Let me see here. James Gatz says Chucky killed Brittany. Oh yes, in was it Bride of Chucky?
Yeah, we runs right off the road. Yeah.
Yep. So lots of good stuff there. So yes, I love going back and watching the old school horror films, especially when they have big names, like really, really big names in them. I think another one of my favorites is Monica Bellucci. Monica Bellucci, who's just an amazing actress. I know everybody knows who she is. She was one of her earliest film roles was one of the brides of Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. No lines, just looking like Monica Bellucci. That's all she needs to do.
Just stand there and be Bellucci.
Yep, Monica Bellucci was one of the Gary Oldman's brides in that film. And Jinju, you are correct. Jinju says House of Wax has one great scene. For me, it's when Paris Hilton bites it. Yes, the only reason I watched that movie was to see Paris Hilton get impaled through the head. That was good stuff.
That's the only time that I've been in a house full of people that cheered when somebody got murdered on a movie. I'm not shitting you. That's not even a joke. Everybody was like, yes. Like, oh, okay.
But
one redeeming moment. One redeeming moment.
But I love going back. It's such a good hallmark to see where these extremely talented individuals got their starts. Like Demi Moore. He's mentioned Demi Moore in The Seventh Sign. Seventh Sign. Yeah, Seventh Sign. Seventh Seal
Sign.
Or Seventh Sign.
No, I want to say Seventh Sign because the Seventh Seal is the one where he plays chess with death.
Seventh Sign. It was 1988, and that was Demi Moore and Michael Biehn.
Yeah,
but I think that was after Aliens because I think Aliens was 86. Oh, let's see. James Gatz says, "What was that movie with John Carpenter?" John Carpenter that was set at a gas station. Wes Craven and David from American Werewolf make cameos.
Clerks.
No, John Carpenter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck, I watched Mallrats yesterday, JL. I thought about you the whole time.
That's a great movie. It's classic.
Fantastic.
Oh, but yeah, it's always fun to go back and check this stuff out. Sarcasm says when Mitch gets it.
I have no idea.
Sarcasm says when Mitch gets it in banana splits, I cheered. Yeah, fun kill. Seeing people get smoked. Depending on whether you like them or not, is always a blast. But I always dug going back and watching the old school stuff. It's fun, and of course, it's good to see where they came from and see how they've grown throughout the year. See how they've improved on their acting, or what's really funny is seeing how they've stayed the same and recognizing, wow, still using those same choices, still using those. There's a particular they know what worked. It's for example, Jennifer Aniston learned very early on when she was on the big screen that she has a what you would say a better side. She has a side that she presents to the camera more often than the other side. And now you see in every film she's ever done, the cameras always grab her in that angle. They just make it a point to. And I find stuff like that to be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so one of the things one of the things we talked about is we have these upcoming celebrities, and a lot of them get smoked in movies. And the reason they get smoked in movies is because a lot of times they end up doing some stupid shit.
Yes. And Komodo was full of stupid shit. Why the fuck the kid just we're getting out of here. We got the group together. Let's go. And then the kid's like, and it just takes the fuck off. And what are you doing? Well,
where are you going? Where are you going? We were out of here, and now we're gonna die. He's like, I gotta get revenge for my family. And
it was like the movie guy. It was like, well, why does the kid leave the group? So the movie can happen. Okay.
I would have left the kid.
It riddled me this too, though. the hardest part is like Komodo dragons aren't like fast. And I mean, even if they're gigantic and slightly quick moving, they're big, stupid, thumpy. They were killed very easily. Like when she beat the shit out of that one with a rock, like, you know, with half strength of a fucking teenage girl, and it died. And then he's like, I'm not wearing a shirt, so you should not do that. Look at me. Like, I don't know what the fuck the deal was there, because she just bonked him a couple times and he's like, stop. And it's like, if they're that easy to kill, you've got heavily armed mercs on the fucking island. Like, you think they'd be able to take out 50 of these things at least, no problem. Like, clearly you can stick a fucking rod into their head. And there was a missed fucking one-liner in that part where he sticks the thing into his fucking throat. The Billy Burke is on the ground and he stabs him in the head. You could have said some fucking funny shit there. Like, you know, I don't know. I can't come up with anything, but, you know, it's like, it's not like they're fighting off fucking raptors or anacondas. It's just these big
or aliens or these exactly xenomorphs, man.
Just big old fucking geckos, like, and then they're gonna fucking die.
Listen, all the good creatures
and what
are
about,
already taken. They're already taken.
Yeah.
What about the
dinosaurs
CEO?
are taken. The aliens, the xenomorphs, sharks, they've all been taken. And then they're like, oh shit, we got dolphins. We got Komodo dragons and we got koala bears.
Yeah, not to mention like octopi, there was an octopus one that was a CGI one. Octopus taken, spiders were taken, wasps and bees, they were gone. They already been used. There was like a slew of this shit in the fucking 90s, like an entire giant list of CGI, whatever. Let's make it big, make it CGI, and throw it in there. But like fucking, what was it? Bees typically don't act. No, but these are giant mutant toxic bees. Oh, and just,
these are terrifying. So were they just sitting at the fucking zoo one day looking at a Komodo dragon being a just loaf in the fucking cage, and they're like, "Man, that's a lazy piece of shit." And the other dude's like, "Yeah, but what if it wasn't?" And then we get this movie. That's where we're at with that.
With Genju, I love that commercial. Yeah, let's run and hide behind the running chainsaws. Why don't we just get in the already running car? No, let's hide in the cemetery. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's legit dumb moves. What was it? I mean, God, there were so many of these.
But then the ending of it, I'm just gonna fucking spoil this for everybody. Spoiler alert. And then the fucking CEO never answers for his bullshit. Like,
no,
that was a whole corrupt situation that they could have played the story into that so much harder. They could have had that dude get eaten by a fucking Komodo at the end. That would have been cool. They could have just done so much more with the end of this story that is like, at the end, you're kind of like, what?
I mean, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same trope. People, I mean, you wonder if there's a formula for making these particular movies because there was weird similarities. You got movies like Bats that came out in '99, Octopus came out in 2000, King Cobra, Spiders. What else? Obviously, Anaconda. Deep Blue Sea.
Anaconda 2.
Mosquito. Fangs. Python.
I want to remind the audience, this is before Asylum and Sci-Fi Network. These came to theaters.
Yes. Yes. Wild. I mean, but hey, any James Gattard, get on that movie, boys. We're trying. I mean, I literally saw a fucking movie on Amazon that was recommended to me called Llamageddon. Everything. I don't care what you're making. You can get funding for it. Llamageddon.
Oh, that'd be
the premise of this: space llama. Evil space llama comes to Earth, besieges teenagers at a party.
We're just going to start in space. We're not going to do 1, 2, and 3 first.
That's it. Boom. Evil space llama crashes on Earth, attacks teens at party. That's your premise. So someone elevator pitched that shit, and that fucker's like, right there. Roll it. Green.
It's just back in the day they were all doing mushrooms, and that shit made sense.
This movie came out in 2020.
You had me at Space Llama.
Yeah, dude, Space Llama.
Straight up. Does the llama have a ship or anything? No. I just want like a space green screen and a llama just flying through it. And it somehow goes through the atmosphere of Earth. and lands like in California where some party's going, and just boom. And I'm like, I'm in.
There you
I'm
go.
sold.
Oh, James Gatz brings another one. Lavalantula. Fire tarantulas. Yeah, that was definitely a sci-fi one. Big there. But we could go down this list for fun. Hey, Beaver C, good to see you. And so James Gantz, thank you so much. Tony Regime, good to see you as well. Got some amazing, all of our patrons are in the house and amazing people in the chat. Good to see everybody. But Sarkaz says, evil space llama. I'm already dead from laughing. No attacks necessary. This is true. Dude, it fucking had glowing red eyes and shit. It's fucking, whatever. We could go down this list for forever, but I know Eugene was jumping into the CTA.
Yes. It has to be like the meme style, like red eyes kind of thing with like Vince McMahon, where he has like the the only way that's gonna be acceptable.
I'm in. I'm gonna download it right now. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna watch that later. So, but anyways, we talked about basically stupid horror movie moves. What are some of your favorite ones, like running up the stairs, tripping over nothing? All the kinds of stuff, checking the body to make sure that the killer is dead for sure.
That's such a good one.
That is an excellent one, yes.
Me and my wife both do this. When we're watching a movie and there's somebody attacking somebody and they get the good guy gets the drop on the bad guy and they hit the ground and they've got every opportunity to punch him and they punch him like one fucking time and then they stop punching them. Like, you've got the drop. Don't stop punching. Keep punching.
I saw that was in Wolf. Holy shit, Wolf Creek 2. That happened in Wolf Creek too. Okay, you got the dude is strapped up in the chair. Mick Taylor's grinding his fingers off with a fucking grinder, and it was like he's torturing the shit out of you. You manage to get free and get your hands on a hammer, and then you catch him in the head unaware and knock him down. Beat his fucking skull in. He is down. Yeah. Finish this fuck off. No, I drop the hammer and then I run away into the tunnels. I have no idea where I am. And then you leave him alive to get up and come out. What the absolute fuck? He's down. Finish him.
End it right there.
I was like Shang Tsung. Finish him. But no. But I mean, I guess because the movie's got to happen. But yeah, I want to know. Like Jason says, bitches always be tripping over nothing. I want to know. What these favorite ones are, because some of these tropes are hysterical. One of my absolute favorites is leaving the group when everyone tells you not to.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just splitting up. It's like we need to split up to cover more ground. That's always very dumb. But my absolute favorite is when someone's like, "Oh, I'm going to go. You shouldn't go. We need to stay together." No, I'm going, and then they go, and obviously the inevitable happens. My key one in this is Friday the 13th Part 7. When she's like, she's like, "Fuck you," because they're telling her, "No, don't go out there." Fuck you. And she opens the door and Jason's there. Funk. And axe in the head and he chucks her behind the TV. That is just brilliant. I fucking love that shit.
You fucking ask for it. If you walk away from the group, that's it. I lose interest in your character. You're going to die. I don't fucking care. You're stupid. Yeah. What are you doing? Like, it's always strength in numbers. No matter what situation you're in, there's always strength in numbers.
Always strength in numbers.
That's the one that's like, if you fucking veer off and you were told not to, you play stupid games, win stupid fucking prizes. Bye. See you later.
Oh, it's like a lot of times you get like the stupidest weapon. So they're like in a hardware store and they pick up like a belt sander. Oh, you know how long it takes to kill somebody with a belt sander? That is
get the PVC to that, man.
You got to hold someone down for a long time versus the chainsaw, the hammer, a nail gun. Ooh.
I see what you did there. Some good ones in the chat. Glober Mom says, the person who goes into the room when someone tells them not to. Yes. Annie is right. That's why Scream got it right. Scream did, that meta horror is great. Ivy Gentry, good to see you, says, hiding in the creepy shed. Yes, don't hide in scary places. Like what's her name in Friday the 13th Part 6? Don't go in there. You didn't need to go in there, young girl. She was actually the nice girl of the piece. And then she went out and she hid in a creepy place and Jason took her out. Or no, that was that 6 or was that 7? Shit, I get sometimes the kills get mixed up. And the George says, got to be backing away slowly instead of just fucking booking it move from every slasher ever. This is true. Don't back away slowly. Run your ass off.
Run. I want to see a track star like straight up outrun Jason, and then that's it for him in the movie. Like he just takes off running, and he's like, boom, turns a corner, and he just survives.
That's okay. That's what the girl did in Friday 9. In Friday, Jason Goes to Hell. The opens up with the girl running from him, and when she gets out of the shower, starts running. That bitch got her track shoes on, and she's tearing ass down through the fucking woods. She's not stopping for a minute. Why? Because it's a setup. Yeah. To lure him to where they're going to blow him up. But still, she didn't stop. So Jinju says, stepping into a bear trap where there aren't any leaves on the forest floor. You need to get some glasses there, buddy. Very true. Beaver C says, falling.
Forest.
Beaver C says, falling down for no reason always cracks me up. Sarcasm, checking the basement.
Yeah.
Jinju, electricity getting cut off and probably going to go check why the electricity has been cut off. Somebody gonna die.
What
This
is
is very true.
We need to turn the light back off.
Everybody that I know is dead, but I'm gonna go see what that noise was.
No, you got a group of you. Lights go off. Well, fuck it. We're just in the dark now. We'll fight in the shade. Let's go. Like that.
Let's go. Why do you gotta? Oh my god. This
Fucking
is like
great
making
stuff.
me irritated. There's actually one in the next movie we're talking about that.
Oh yes. So by the way, Alex, what do we have next?
Solid segue. It wasn't even meant to be.
That was good. It's because we're fucking professionals here, man.
Oh, fuck yeah!
This is what we do. This is what we do. Oh, Commander Darklight, real quick. Number 1, having sex.
Always.
Worst move in a horror movie. You're fucking dead on arrival. Thank you, Commander Darklight. Okay, sorry about that. He was the only one to post it up. Having sex.
It's fair.
And the other one is drinking and doing drugs. So
yeah.
Yeah, most of the time they die too. So being a good little I'll take death. I'm just kidding. So let's move to August 10th, 2007. Actually, not long after this one. Now that I look at how old we are. This one was written by James DeMonico, Todd Harthe, and James Rodriguez, directed by James Isaac. There's a whole shitload of Jameses in this. James Isaac, starring Jason Behr, Elias Koteas, Rana Mitra, Kim Coates was in this one, Sarah Carter, Matthew Knight, of course, Sean Roberts. Fucking, what's his face from Resident Evil? That's the one. And of course, Nana, Barbara Gordon. This movie is actually just Terminator, but with werewolves.
Yeah.
Okay. If there was one werewolf
shut up and listen to this. Listen to my. So there's two groups of werewolves. There's these werewolves that are cursed and they don't want to be, so they're kind of the good guys. And then you've got we are just werewolves. We're not human. We're better than that. Fuck people. Bad guy werewolves that are going to kill all the humans. And then you've got the group that's going to kind of try to save the humans. And then you've got a little kid who is the fate of humanity and is being protected by his mother against these two clans of werewolves that are one's trying to kill the boy because the boy can end the curse forever. And after watching it, it's missing Daryl and it's missing T-1000s for sure.
Okay,
no,
if
really good. So
if it was one werewolf going after like one werewolf assaulting the entire group, protecting the boy, I could see that. I could because. But it was weird because these werewolves were going down for shit. You think werewolves, big tough motherfuckers, go down like silver bullets.
No, dude, they got killed. Everybody fucking died. Everybody died.
These werewolves were going down. Yeah, they were going down pretty easy, which I thought was weird.
How many people walked out of that? Like 2 fucking people?
The kid and his mom. Oh wait, and the evil leader who was cured. Yeah, who was cured and then became a good guy after murdering. All of their friends. Yeah, everybody
fucking died.
Everyone fucking died.
They stole shit from Boogeyman in this movie, which pissed me off. When the hawk hits the window of the car, it was straight up Boogeyman vibes. And then the werewolves were good. The story was good. The actors were good. You had a lot of really good actors in this. And I mean, it was actually pretty good. Minus the fact that it just, at the end of it, you're like, fuck, man. Like, everybody is just a pussy. Like, we're all going to fucking die here. Like, what's the deal? And then you get to the end, you're like, that was a lot of killing. Like, a lot of people died. If you got hooked to any character at the beginning of the movie, you were sad at the end of it. And it sucked because the kid was kind of an asshole and the mom was dumb as shit. But, you know.
Yeah, and then somehow.
Well, the mom did. Rhoda Mitra played the mother. She didn't know anything. She didn't know what was going on. They kept her in the dark the entire time, which, you know, inevitably has its own problems. But that was the big thing. I mean, this was definitely one of the films in the early 2000s. This was definitely one of those movies that attempted to flip the script on the standard monster genre. They do mention werewolves at one point, but they only mention it once. And that was when, like, you know, it's like, we call ourselves Skinwalkers. Oh, that's my dog barking. Sorry.
He's like, I'm a Skinwalker too, Daddy.
And he's like, well, then they call themselves Skinwalkers, but then he's like, you would call us werewolves. And that's not exactly how it works. And the story itself, and I found this interesting. One of the co-writers of this, you said, is James Roday. James Roday played Sean in the show Psych. So I don't know if you caught that. Yeah, that's James. Okay. Yeah, that's James Roday. So he co-wrote this film, and they take from the Skinwalker legend, which is an actual legend that I'm very familiar with. I mean, especially living up here in Oklahoma, I understand these things. But they're not really werewolves either, because, like, Anna George says, Underworld mentions Underworld, where those were werewolves, these ones. So it was weird, and they were flipping the script on the classic monster. The classic monster is the werewolf, the guy who turns into a wolf during a full moon, yada yada yada. And this one, I think, attempted to do something interesting, use some regular folklore in order to justify the kind of story they were telling. That, you know, these people have a choice in what they are, and they can either fight their nature or whatever. But ultimately, it just kind of falls flat because when you do that, when you attempt to flip the script like that and present these classic monsters in different ways, your movie can lose sight of what it's trying to be. What are you trying to be? Are you trying to be an action film? Are you trying to be a suspense thriller? Are you trying to be a supernatural horror movie? You're trying to be a monster movie. And then you pull all these little pieces together to try and weave something coherent together. And as you notice watching the movie, it's very choppy. It feels like it jumps from genre to genre to genre.
This is what it is. And I'm actually really glad that someone brought up Underworld, because it kind of, as we talked about with Komodo, you had like the Jurassic Park, and then everybody tried to copy it, and then you have Underworld, because you have the first Underworld came out in 2003, and in terms of flipping the script, it's more of an action movie, and they have tribes and stuff, and they fight each other, and you have all the slow-mo and all this other kind of stuff, and a bunch of werewolves and vampires die from either side. And so it seems like Skinwalkers was kind of latching on to that Underworld crave. Well, Underworld's an okay movie, but it has a really cool soundtrack and stuff to it, and it has Kate Beckinsale. So it was like Underworld works. With Skinwalkers, it kind of didn't know what it wanted to be. And I agree with you, the fact that it feels kind of jumpy. It doesn't fit well. Like, honestly, they could have just made it just a straight up action movie. You could have even taken the werewolf out and just had a group of people, and they can fight it out in a town. Mm-hmm. That works. Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's a good movie. It works.
Oh, so I would like End of Days. And while people chastise End of Days, if you go back and watch that movie, it's legitimately like sorry, I hit my mic. If you go back and watch End of Days, the film is actually quite coherent. Yes, there's the devil and there's imagery, I would say, but it is not a religious horror film. That is an action film, straight up and straight through, with dramatic elements and supernatural elements. But the movie never loses focus as to what it's trying to be. And that's very, very important. You can have the elements of other things, but don't try to be multiple things all at once. And I agree. Skinwalkers, if it had been just a straight action movie, Werewolf Clan versus Werewolf Clan going to town on each other to try to protect this one kid, we didn't need all the exposition. This is really, really simple. Just lay it out like this, and you're good, and you're good to go. And then just jump into the action of werewolves like throwing down with each other. That could be some awesome stuff. But it just didn't play out. And yeah, I think that the script was probably muddled, and I mean, the actors gave it their best. I will give it that at least. I mean, Elias Koteas and Rhoda Mitra and Brendan Fair and everybody who was involved in this, they were doing their best to sell these characters and sell what they were trying to do. I at least it wasn't bored. It wasn't like Billy Burke, where he's kind of like, I have a line to say. You know, it wasn't like that. I mean,
I have to work now.
Exactly. I applaud them for their professionalism, and I mean, the production values were decent. The werewolves were a little meh, but you know,
I know it was so hard because they were so close to being good that you could kind of let it slide a little bit. But the design of them could have been just a little bit better. And like you're saying though, Jason Behr he was in Smallville. And then you got Kim. I always say Kim Koteas. I think that's how you say his last name.
Oh, Kim Coates. Kim Coates.
See, I always said Koteas because it sounded cool.
Oh, you're talking about Elias Koteas.
No, but then there's Elias Koteas now, and so I see that I had always said Kim Coates' name wrong, but from Sons of Anarchy, and you got a couple of big names in this. You're not kidding. They give it their all. Man, Barbara Gordon, when she fucking whips that gun out in the middle of the road, I was like, yeah, get him, Grandma.
Barbara Gordon is badass. Elias Koteas. I mean, heck, he was Casey Jones in TMNT. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where I first came across. I mean, he'd done work before that, but that was the first time I ever saw Elias Koteas was kicking ass as Casey Jones in the original Turtles movie. But yeah, I got to applaud him for that. But unfortunately, just that was how it sussed out. You try to do something new, and it's always a risk. It's a big risk. Especially if you're trying to flip the script on or flip the genre and introduce something new. And I applaud them for that. You got to risk something because no risk, no reward. Even when it's something as classic as like werewolves or particularly monster movies, when the public has such a solidified viewpoint of these particular monsters. Like you saw what happened flipping the script on vampires. Okay, 30 Days of Night. That's the kind of vampires we want. Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's the kind of vampires we want. Twilight?
That's the kind of vampires we want.
You're trying to get us demonetized. But yeah, I mean, you try to flip the script and do something new. It's always a big time risk. But like they say, no risk, no reward. That's the perils of the business.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You always have to do something different because honestly, I forgot about this film. I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it maybe like shortly after it came out on the DVD or something like that, and maybe 2008, 2009. And then you brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, that movie does exist. Yeah,
I remember when it came out too. But yeah, that's all it was. It was a flash across the timeline. It didn't really do much for the genre. It didn't really take anything away from the genre, whatever genre it was trying to be. But it didn't. It was so neutral. There were some cool scenes in it, but then you get into the fight scenes where they're like slashing at each other a few times, and then like slash, and then cuts the rope and he hits the ground and he's dead. And I was like, I thought they were supposed to be like better than humans.
Yeah, like dropping a werewolf from a great height. I'm not saying why that would kill any werewolf. It was, I mean, that's what they're trying to flip the script on it. The silver work, they do make a mention of silver bullets once at the very beginning of the film. And then they never mention it again. And then what do they never say? Is everyone packing silver bullets? Do they have enough? I mean, how do they acquire enough silver in order to fill like automatic weapons with silver bullets? And why are we getting penetration on an armored truck with silver bullets? That's not possible. So I mean, there's issues here that we didn't consider. That I'm assuming that when writing the script, there's certain things that for the sake of production, for the sake of the production, you got to kind of try and squeeze by the audience. Unfortunately, I mean, and that may work for mainstream audiences who are just looking for just an action movie that you can kind of like just zone out on. But it just for horror fans who, especially monsters that you enjoy and monsters that you like, I happen to be a big fan of werewolves. These are the things that we catch. So
yeah. I mean, just ultimately the werewolves could have been better. They're just locking on what genre we want. Werewolf transformation, werewolf design is a huge thing because one of the things we watch for werewolf films is how the werewolf looks, how brutal is it. We like watching good werewolf transformations, and I like a giant, huge prosthetic thing moving around, not just people with makeup on. People with makeup on to me is like Buffy level.
Yeah,
which I love the TV show Buffy, but they have to lower that down because it's a TV show.
Yeah,
don't send a movie.
Howling, fantastic. American Werewolf in London, fantastic. Late Phases, fantastic. Bad Moon, fantastic. I mean, these are full-fledged production films. So yeah, I agree with that. Who else is going here? Let's see. Ivy Gentry says, I am back to watching horror movies again. Blood Red Sky was awesome. Fantastic. And Ivy, I'm so glad we got you back into the genre. A lot of good movies out there. And the George says, Hellsing Ultimate Anime. That's the kind of mothering vampire we want. Yes, that's true. Tony Regine, that's why I like Nightbreed. It flipped the monster movie. That is how you do it correctly. That's how you flip the monster script correctly. But I mean, that's Clive Barker. Clive Barker, it's hard to challenge that kind of authorship. And in the director's cut of Nightbreed, it's absolutely fantastic because it gets all the points that Clive Barker was trying to get across. Tony Regime says the transformation in American Werewolf in London is still one of the absolute best. It's like, yes, it was. Oh, absolutely amazing. Definitely. And Ramam agrees. American Werewolf in London. Yeah, still love it. I mean, it's pretty much the bar, and that bar was set very, very high. But that's, and like you're saying, that's the dangers. With particular subject matter, with vampires, with werewolves, if you want to do ghosts, mummies, swamp, Creature from the Black Lagoon, or like this, you just don't flip the script. And you can, but it's dangerous in doing so. And it requires a particular level of talent in order to pull that off. And unfortunately, while I respect these guys for getting their movie in the can, I am a big fan of James Roday, who helped co-write. I'm not sure what extent he co-wrote this movie, but he's credited as a co-writer. Just can't get behind it. The fact that I like looking at Rona Mitra. That's pretty much it. One of her first movies was in Hollow Man.
Shit, yeah, huh?
Oh, she was Kevin Bacon's first victim in that film.
This one was okay. It goes back to what we were talking about at the end of the last movie, like the whole "what's your horror trope?" They had, like, why didn't they just fucking leave that little ass podunk fucking town? Like, it was just plenty of opportunity for them to just get the fuck out, and then it never happened. So it was just, there was a lot to this that was left untouched. But overall, not a terrible movie. Definitely
agreed.
Definitely, if you're trying to, if you're trying to see all the movies, definitely check it out. But
see, Sir Little Wolf is in the house. Good to see you, Sir Little Wolf. Says hi, bipeds. Good to see you, sir. Tony Regime says, whenever I open the fridge, I always think of American Werewolf in London. Very true. Ooh, Sir Little Wolf pointed out Michael Jackson in Thriller is a great transformation. And if I remember correctly, that was overseen by Stan Winston, wasn't it?
I believe so.
That had to either be. I'm actually curious because that's a bit of trivia that I need to recommit to memory. Because I'm curious if that was Stan Winston or that was Rick Baker. Someone ought to check that for me. Someone ought to look that up. Is that Stan Winston who's behind that, or was that Rick Baker who was behind that full transformation? I guess the viral, no. There we go. Michael Jackson, music video. Okay, and if we go to production, I'm really curious. Yes, Michael Jackson wanted to make a video in which he transformed into a four-legged beast similar to American Werewolf in London. It was replaced with a two-legged monster, as this made it easier for him to dance. John Landis felt Jackson should become scary and creepy, but not ugly. Landis suggested Jackson should become a werewolf, inspired by I Was a Teenage Werewolf from 1957. And Rick Baker, boom.
Rick Baker, okay.
And he decided to turn Jackson into a werecat because I just didn't want to do another werewolf. That is badass. That's awesome. So Rick Baker, great. Stan Winston, Rick Baker. the monsters they created, the monsters and incredible creatures they created. I'm not reading that. I love you, Tony, but I can't read that.
Anyways.
All right.
So, God, see, we were supposed to. It's hard to even. How do you put this, JL? We're talking about good versus bad monsters.
Versions of the monsters. Which do people prefer?
Yeah, which do people prefer, the good or the bad version of the monsters?
How about this? So we wanted to ask the audience which you guys preferred. Now, a movie like Skinwalkers attempted to flip the script a little bit and introduce like good versions of these monsters, but they're still monsters. But these are like good monsters, okay? But your classic standard version of monster is they are monsters. That's why they make monster movies about them. They're rooted in folklore. They're typically evil. They typically, eat human beings or prey upon humans. That's why they're monsters. But sometimes the scripts will try to flip it and try to introduce like a good version of it or a version that's not so scary. Which versions do you like? Do you like the kind of flipped idea where it changes things up and introduces a new style, like the good versions of monsters? They're just monsters, but they're misunderstood. Or do you prefer the classic standard horror, like these are monsters, that's why we make monster movies about them? Do you prefer those versions? Classic or the kind of genre flipped ideas on these guys? Let us know in the comments below or hit us up, weekinhorror@gmail.com or in the live chat if you happen to be listening. That's how you do a CTA.
Thank you. But my issue is the only like good versions, as you're calling it, of monsters that exist outside of like Frankenstein's monster in some versions is like the Twilight and like the
no, I think you're stuck on Twilight. There are some films out there that introduced sympathetic versions of monsters.
Yeah, like Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, there's some versions of it that are sympathetic. I mean, definitely Penny Dreadful was not one of those. But I thought, that Rory was amazing as Frankenstein's first monster in that film or in that series. Thought he was absolutely brilliant. We got a lot of love. And Anna says Teen Wolf, like Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, I guess.
Yeah.
There you go. And that was Michael J. Fox. Gotta love him. So I mean, there's some on either side. I'm kind of curious as to what people overall think.
I guess I misunderstood what we were shooting for there. So anyways, Joe, what do we got next?
All right, let's jump right into it. We have our third film. So for our third film that we're talking about tonight, it'd be helpful if I go to the script. This one released August 11th, 2006, and it is the techno horror film Pulse. So, directed by Jim Sonzero and with a screenplay by Ray Wright and credited Wes Craven, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And of course, starring Kristen Bell, Ian Somerhalder, Rick Gonzalez, Sam Levine, Kel O'Neill, Ron Rifkin, Christina Milian, and I think I caught him. There was another. Oh, yes. I got to throw it out there. Octavia Spencer, who is blown up recently. Octavia Spencer had a role in this, as did Brad Dourif. Was in here as well. So I mean, these names, I don't want to forget them. So, where to
start?
Okay, so I'm trying not to give it or put a breakdown on this thing where it just makes it sound so fucking terrible. So based on the Japanese film Pulse, which I believe is Cairo in Japanese. Yeah. But based on the Japanese, this is one of the Japanese adaptations that came out during the early 2000s. I guess research students wind up students working on a telecom project end up tapping into a wide band of frequencies that they didn't even, that they hadn't previously predicted were there, and wind up opening up turning broadband products like your cell phone stuff into gateways for spirits or maybe the dead to enter our world, to basically breach into our world. And then these beings, or whatever they are, these like frequency creatures, I don't fucking know, never explains, then run around, grab human beings, and like suck their will to live out of them, where they eventually either commit suicide or end up fading away like into ash because they are nothing. So, and then of course the race is on to either try to stop it or escape the city before everyone gets killed. And it's definitely an apocalyptic film. The problem with this one is Pulse is not how you adapt a movie, because the original Japanese one focused very, very strongly on character relationships. And we have spoken many times on this podcast about how character development is very, very important and is paramount to a strong film where you have very little action. We got to want to know these. We got to want to like these characters. We got to be able to follow these characters. We got to be interested. And the original the original Cairo did that very well. This one did not, and it traded all of that stuff for flashy visuals and loud sounds. Lots of loud sounds in this movie. But yeah, this is not how you adapt a movie.
I want to point out something, and this is purely from like the filmmaking between, because I love Cairo. Between the two, is you look at Cairo is very well shot. The cinematography is very impressive, and it fits the style that they're going for. With Pulse, obviously fresh off The Grudge and The Ring, and which The Grudge and The Ring have also great cinematography, and a lot of it has this blue tint to it. Now, with like you take The Ring, it has this blue tint to it. It gives this kind of feeling of just this dread. With her in the well, like it works really well for this film. And it was like they watched the coloring of The Ring, and it's like, we need to color Pulse the exact same way. And it does not have the same effect, because it feels like the coloring they do on Sharknado. I rewatched Pulse. And it's like when she's like outside and she's like looking at the tower, right? And like the person like falls off. And I was like, why does this look so bad? That's Sharknado tint.
The entire film does not need to be cobalt blue. And this movie was like varying shades of cobalt blue. Sometimes it was extreme, sometimes especially when she's like having her visage and shit, it's really extreme, and sometimes it's kind of subtle. But the whole fucking film doesn't need to be cobalt blue. That annoyed me.
I had to say, but when it comes to film adaptations, and obviously this was J-horror at this point, it was just huge. It was a big thing that just it hit the scene. So studios are, of course, trying to scoop up everything they can get that's supernatural. And this one felt, once again, we've said it many times, like a cash grab. The Grudge and The Ring don't feel that way. The Grudge and The Ring feel like this is a cool story that I want to tell my own version, and they stand on their own. This feels like we ran out of ideas. So we already have a VHS tape. We already have a website. It was like fear.com. We already have a house. What can we do? Cell phone signals and internet. Sure, we'll run with that.
Well, and I like that. In the original one, in the J-horror one, one of the aspects was there was the overwhelming theme of reliance upon technology, that our desire for more technology, better technology, not only separates us, but could wind up getting us into trouble. Basically, your scientists didn't stop. Your scientists were so concerned with whether or not they didn't stop to think that they should. And they took that to a new level. Breaking new ground, pushing new boundaries. Eventually, technology will get you into trouble, and we are so reliant upon it. And then, of course, when it fails us, we're completely out of sorts. We don't know what to do. We panic. And I like this. And then the characters play into this very, very well. That was sold on this reaction to it, to the supernatural event. And then, of course, they throw all of that out the window for what they did in the remake. And every bit of it just made I get what they were trying to do, but I think also part of the problem was there was not a major motion picture production house behind this, because The Grudge and The Ring both had top-notch productions behind them and top-notch directors behind them. Mm-hmm. This one, unfortunately, didn't get that. So like One Missed Call, Polaroid, this one just did not get the backing, because I think they knew what it was. It was just despite that fact, it's still got a fucking trilogy. So which just boggles my mind.
So did everything, though. So did One Missed Call, and so did did Ring got 3 of them, didn't it?
Shit. Ring got this Sadako versus Kayako or whatever. Basically Ring versus Grudge. We got to see those two bitches fight. So that's how far that one went.
I mean, they all anything, because they started off so hot, like you were talking about. They were definitely like, there was the J-horror stuff. One Missed Call was huge. That was based off of an actually good movie. Grudge, Ring, this one. What was the other one that was like energy? White Noise. That was J-horror, though, wasn't it?
No, there may have been one, but it wasn't directly adapted. No,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't straight from that one. But like, that's the thing, though, is like the original movies were going for fear, and in the Japanese culture, spirits were terrifying, and they were there to punish. And then you bring that to America, and America is more about gore and action almost in their horror movies. That's got to be like, oh, go, next action scene, next kill, when J-horror's films are based off of, very old and sometimes very ancient beliefs of spirits coming to punish you, or spirits escaping realms and, coming into our realm and causing havoc, and they'd use them as like scary bedtime stories and, to keep the kids in line. And then you have American horror, which, like I said, is more gore and action, and it's more for entertainment than it is based on our beliefs as a country, or as America. And so that's where there's a huge gap between the original movies being one thing, and that's to like tell an actual story of a belief system, an ancient belief system among the people. And then you bring it to America, and it's just for money. And so they're going to get the most entertainment value that they can out of it. And so they lose a lot of the original aspect, a lot of the original kind of point of the movie in trying to adapt it to America. And that's where it's hard. When you're watching for these things, it's kind of hard to pick, because sometimes the original version wasn't very good cinematically, but it was scarier because the story was scarier, as opposed to having good production value and a shit act, or a shit cast, or a shit, like, anything, the Cobalt Blue stuff. Like, you're just trying to bounce off the stuff that's worked for other people, as opposed to telling your own story, and so you kind of lose it there for me.
Agreed. There and the I like what you were referencing there, is that the difference between the American culture and Japanese culture, as far as their mythology goes. Unfortunately, America really doesn't have its own mythology. We're like one of the youngest countries in the world, if not the youngest country in the world. There might be a couple that are younger than us. World stuff is not really my forte. I talk about horror movies, but yeah, it's we don't really have a mythology built up. Like ghosts and spirits, like these things are. There's no like tradition there. I mean, our traditions are like baseball. And so we draft off everybody else. We draft off things that that come out of coming out of the UK, that come out of Japan, that come out of Korea, that come out of Australia. Cultures that have been around a lot longer than us and have their traditions and their mythology solidified in their cultures. And so we don't really have anything to pull from ourselves, other than, I guess, like ghosts, just like your standard classic boogity ghost. But things like The Grudge. That's an incredibly unique concept, the idea of the curse born out of vengeance. And we can pull off of that. And fortunately, if you're directing, that was the thing. The production company and the directors behind the original remake of The Grudge really had a tremendous amount of respect for that story. And it was really smart. It's because the original Ju-on, it all takes place in Japan. And they had the thought, it was like, okay, it'll still take place in Japan. We'll just take an American and put them in this spot.
Yeah. And
that's a good way to translate it over, which is why I think it worked so well, because it allowed us to kind of go over there. And that's also why there was, we talked about it before, Ghost House with Scout Taylor Compton. That was Americans in Thailand getting caught up in Thailand. I think it was Thailand. Yeah, but getting caught up in that mythology of the ghost houses and then disturbing the ghost and the spirit coming and attacking you, for vengeance of disturbing ghost houses. So that's interesting stuff, and that's a good way to help it translate. But when you try to bring it over to America, like the whole story, it doesn't play. I mean, they got lucky with the Ringu. I mean, Ring I thought was pretty good. Naomi Watts, I love. She's a great actress, and it's psychologically fucked up enough because I think that was Gore Verbinski was behind that, and it was psychologically fucked up enough that people were like, nah, it just why is the ladder shaking? I don't fucking get horse hide. I don't fucking know. It was creepy enough that it could hit across, but stuff like this, we don't have the same view of technology. Someone mentioned in the live chat, we don't have the same view of technology. We don't have the same view of like spirits. We don't have the same view of particular monsters that they do. Like for us, vampires, classic, Dracula, the Bram Stoker style, not, but like concepts of like the Strigoi. Okay, completely different concept of a vampire that you don't really see in American culture that often. And I think that's why it's difficult to translate. Is just our culture is so new and theirs are so rooted in their traditions. It's hard. I think that's the line. And that's the hard line to cross when you're trying to do adaptations like this. And unless you get super lucky, you're going to wind up with Pulse or, the Tattooist or something of that nature. Yeah.
Something I will always remember when The Ring came out and the way they actually had a website. You got to think this is like 2005, so you get more consistent and stuff like that. And I went to the website and it was just the video and no icons, no like a home menu, check out cast, behind the scenes photo. No, you clicked on it, it just played the video and just watched the movie. So I was like, oh, well, they watch this thing. Who would be stupid enough to watch this? Let me go to the website. Oh, my God, I'm watching this right now.
Yeah, that was good marketing. That was excellent.
Over and I'm on to the next thing.
We got some new people in the chat. Man Devil has come by. Good to see you, Man Devil. Excellent. That's actually cool. Ivy Getcher says Supernatural pulled off quite a lot of Native American stuff, and they did. And they pulled it off quite well, like Wendigo. So, God, that movie Antlers. When is that fucking thing going to come out?
Bro, seriously, listen. I'm from the north, so that one. I mean, we don't have a lot of mythology, but like coming from the north, that was one thing that was pounded into our heads as kids was Wendigos. It was like a thing, and people still talk about them like that. It's that kind of stuff that America is very not.
Great, yeah. PhD Tony is in the house. I'm so glad you're feeling better, but he was pretty sick there for a while, but I'm glad he's feeling better enough to join us. And one of our amazing patrons as well says, what about the houses that October built? Hard to see that occurring anywhere else. No one else takes Halloween as seriously as you guys. And that's an interesting point. Very interesting. I don't think anywhere takes Halloween as seriously as America does.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So that may be one of the traditions that we can build on. I mean, we haven't been around that long, so maybe I don't know. And if America lasts 1,000 years, Halloween may be maybe something tremendous. But I agree with that. Good point, Tony. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Halloween is big to us, especially Halloween is huge to me. Mr. Malort is in the house. Another one of our amazing patrons. Fantastic. Look, we've got these. Everyone is in here. This is fucking amazing.
All right. Yeah.
And Mandevil says, why did Hollywood have to make the sets in The Ring so pretty for the Hollywood version? Did they think the Japanese one had grimy sets because they couldn't afford better? The griminess was the point. Very, very true. I'll admit that kind of played in the well scenes as well. It was very clean cut.
That's just American. That's just American style.
Yeah, that's the American style.
The polished look.
All right. Well, that comes down to what I want to ask our audience. In these particular films, do you prefer the J-horror originals or do you like the American versions better? Do you dig the adaptations or not? Maybe they should just leave them alone. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But which one do you like to see? Let us know in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com or over here in the live chat if you happen to be listening now. Okay, we got one more to talk about. Eugene, take us home, man.
I think this is the film everybody's actually been waiting for.
Yes.
The headliner. So, released August 13th, 2019, we have the Banana Splits movie. And it is directed by, this is a Dutch movie, so pardon my pronunciation on this.
Pardon my French.
Pardon my French. Danish Esther Hazy. That's directed. Yeah, directed by. I'm not going to try to pronounce that again. Starring Danny Kind, Steve Lud, Selena Martin, Finley Wajacek, Holson, Sarah Canning, Romeo Corrie, and Maria Nash. And basically what it is it plays off of the old children's TV show Banana Splits, which are actually have these animatronic things, and programming gets haywire, and all of a sudden these animatronic things go from kids show to start killing people, and shit gets real.
Oh, it gets super real.
Yeah.
It gets super duper real.
It gets weirdly real. It's not supposed to.
I mean, when I saw this one come up, I had to watch it. I had to watch it immediately. It's fucking amazing. Genre flipping IPs like this, like taking something that's just absolutely not, and then bring it over to this one, so fucking brilliant. Actually, I got to bring this up before you jump into there, Alex. Someone just mentioned, so Little Wolf says, "Isn't Banana Splits basically Five Nights at Freddy's?" And actually, no, it's not. It isn't. Willy's Wonderland was basically Five Nights at Freddy's. That's literally Five Nights at Freddy's what inspired Willy's Wonderland. Banana Splits movie was legitimately, let's take a cartoon show like from the 60s. Let's take an old cartoon show and make it into a horror IP. It's legitimately what they did was the intention. There's no cross-contamination. I would say not cross-contamination, but there's no cross-influence here between you. I mean, nowhere in the film would I even say, "Oh, that's kind of like Willy's." No, none of it.
No,
and that's crazy that they took that specific flip on this. You know, it really hasn't been done before with the animatronics and everything. And then they did two totally separate movies, and they were definitely their own separate movies, which was fucking fantastic. And we did do this on a bloodbath debate, Banana Splits versus Willy's Wonderland, and it was a shit show. But in this one, with the major flip on that, like, I've always been terrified of those animatronics at like Chuck E. Cheese. It's always been a thing in my head. Like, those things are fucking, they have demons in them, or they're sentient in some way. I've always believed that. And then being an adult, and then this comes out, and it's like, fuck, man. See, I'm not the only one, but also now it just reiterates the fear. And I've got 4 kids, and we've been to Chuck E. Cheese, and I get that same creepy ass feeling off of it. So it surprises me that it took this long to come up with a blockbuster version of these animatronics killing people, because they're fucking creepy. They move like people, and they talk, and you can interact with them, and just it being a sentient being is just terrifying, even though it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a cute, fun kids thing, and it's a good genre, and they got it right. I don't think you could go any farther than the Banana Splits movie and Willy's Wonderland without it just being a fucking ripoff. So I think they got in a good time. The movie was well done. There was a little iffiness between kind of how they became sentient or why they went haywire. There could be a little bit more into what was going on there.
It was AI. It was bad AI.
But it was just like, it was just this one little glitch in the system. Like,
well, no, it wasn't a glitch. It was the AI responding to their cancellation, because their AI, it basically was bad programming.
That's what I'm saying. They just
the bad programming. It's like Child's Play. It's like what they did with the new Child's Play. Yeah.
Being 2020 or 2019, they could have probably dug a little bit more into it, made it a little bit more interesting as to like what, because it was just like a bug in the system.
Well, no.
It was canceled.
It was the AI. No, it was the AI misinterpreting its commands. It was basically like the show must go on.
Right.
And that overrides your canceled. That's not a bug. That's the AI going, no, regardless of it, the show must go on. So
it's this military grade fucking,
But JL, what Alex is saying is, it's like, it's doing what it's programmed to do, but no one really wanted to kill
Well,
people.
no,
So it's still a bug. It's still like
it's not.
But anybody who was a threat to the show, just like Ultron. You know, clean up the initial program for Ultron in Marvel Comics was clean up all the trash. Okay, I cleaned up all the trash, but the AI learns and it adapts and it realizes there's no way to clean up all the trash because the humans keep making more trash. Get rid of all the humans, no more trash.
But they skimmed over.
Logic.
They didn't put the logic into it.
Okay, that's the logic of Ultron. The logic of the banana splits is the show must go on, so remove any threats to the show because the show must go on. I don't know how that translates to put them up on like spinning wheels and rip them apart and like draw and quarter them. I'm not sure how that gets into the mix.
Fucking limbs off.
But it was hilarious. It was hilarious as shit.
It was a game. That was it. It was a game.
I was just literally trying to find any I was being devil's advocate on this one because it's cheesy as fuck and it's goofy, but it's also like they fucking kill when they pull that dude apart. It was so fucking. I was like, holy shit!
Because these weren't like your basic animatronics. This wasn't like if you bust open the Chuck E. Cheese thing and it's just like it's like fucking chicken wire and stuffing and some hinges and shit. These things were fucking like hydraulic press joints,
hydraulic steel frame,
fucking Terminators in fluffy outfits.
Yeah,
they got the whole scene where half of Droopy gets damaged, and it's like, turn around, red eye and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Holy shit!
Who makes these things?
That's what I'm saying. They need to go more into the story as to why these things are so fucking brutal in the first place, and then.
Mandevil actually shorted up because the AI was also programmed to entertain the audience. So even when killing them, it needs to entertain. There you go.
There you
it's
go.
Brilliant. I want to know more about the guy who programmed him.
This is legitimate science right here. I can't even say that with a straight face.
Close enough though. But seriously, they got his real.
Sarcasm says, I got the same vibe as Jail, and I am old enough to have seen the original splits. The kills match the show perfectly. Get older.
Get older. I'm working on it, man. I'm really trying.
How is this our amazing audience is trying to logic out the movie like we are? Commander Darklight says, putting the punishment on display to deter people, like teaching a lesson, as the splits often did. They taught lessons in their sketches to deter people from trying to shut down the show. All of these work. They're all fantastic. I love them. I love that we have logicked out the Banana Splits movie because it demanded it so.
I had questions and I've got fucking answers now. So
it's like, all right. Well, the thing that really surprises me is it's one thing when you have something that's like, oh, it's a kid's show. We're going to turn it into like a kid's movie, or we're going to take toys and make a toy movie or something like that. But the fact, I don't know how they pulled it off, who they had to like fondle or something to be like, listen, I know kids love this show. Let's have them kill some people.
Yes.
And the IP owners are like, yeah, I'm down for that. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm down. Like, I want to know how.
We gotta kill people. We gotta come back to the slasher movie. How are we gonna do it? How are we gonna make it different? Chuck E. Cheese, bro.
Well, I mean, you did have the creepypasta was already really popular. The idea of the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics coming to life at night, and then the people disappearing. I mean, that plays off of Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's where Willy's Wonderland comes in. Is that the animatronics are alive and they're possessed by spirits or ghosts or evil people or whatever. Whereas in this one, it was just it was like the new Child's Play. It was just bad AI. It was AI that went evil and tried to do its thing. Very much like I think one of my favorites is like Blinky. We fuck with the AI enough, and then Blinky was supposed to be the house assistant, and then you fuck with it enough and mistreat it. Eventually, it gets it gets mixed messages and eventually starts killing people and turning them into dinner and stuff. This particular one, I always said, who was it? Who said it? Rodent No Last Name. Good to see you, Rodent No Last Name. I says weekend or so V'ger following its core programming, like in Star Trek.
Oh, okay. No,
and And Mandevil says, laughing my ass off. It's legit. Ever played AI Dungeon that learned from the internet users that played it? It goes from 0 to Pornhub in like 20 seconds. So.
Yeah, I mean,
but I love this. I love this now. This opened up something. This is really, really interesting. There's a lot of old school shows out there that played on this. I mean, HR Puffin stuff, happens to be one, Magic School Bus, various old IPs that cater to children. You could even do Sesame Street. But here's the question, and something I was really curious about: flipping children IP to horror IP is very interesting. And I've only seen it done relatively successfully with one other time. The Banana Splits movie is one thing, but Peter Jackson did this before with Meet the Feebles. When people would argue that maybe that movie really had horror elements, but that was a disgusting fucking movie because that was straight up Sesame Street on speedballing crack with PCP. That movie was beyond fucked up, but it was still Sesame Street. And flipping these IPs, turning something that is a children's motif into something horrific like this. Is this Captain Glober said Captain Kangaroo horror movie would be cool. Right. Okay. And someone did mention Child's Play. Child's Play, is a riff off My Buddy, the My Buddy.
Yeah, the My Buddy.
Yes, the My Buddy dolls. My Buddy and Me. So like Nightmare on, Circaz is Nightmare on Sesame Street. I want the IP rights for this. So that's our Garbage Pail Kids. But those are always kind of gross. And it was the cards translate to the movie. But thank you, Sir Little Wolf. But my curiosity is Banana Splits a one-off? Because Meet the Feebles really didn't resonate unless you were a Peter Jackson fan. And that really didn't resonate with people because people go back and watch it. Wow, Peter Jackson did this shit before he did like Lord of the Rings. Fuck yes, he did. He also did Brain Dead, and he also did Bad Taste. So the idea is this a one-off? You could only do this with the Banana Splits, and of course we got Willy's Wonderland, which really didn't hit like Banana Splits did. I mean, is this a thing that filmmakers could use again, possibly, or no? Is this kind of like done?
And that's the thing is, I don't know because with Willy's Wonderland, as far as I know, it wasn't established as anything like Banana Splits. I thought it was just Nick Cage and just a premise that they came up with. So if there's a Willy Wonderland show or something like that, please let me know.
Well, no, it was that was a straight rip off of Five Nights at Freddy, which is a video game series.
Oh, okay, I'm familiar with the Five Nights at Freddy. That's been in production hell for forever. But in terms
played on VR, it's fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, but actually something with like an existing IP, it would be interesting to see more of it. I think it would be some of the old school cartoons, old school kids shows. What if Blue's Clues try to like kill you and eat your face?
Here's some ideas. So, like Sir Little Wolf says, Wacky Races meets Death Race 2000 would be very interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting as hell. Sir Kev says, Sir Kev says I was typing what Eugene was saying. See,
great minds think alike, by the way.
Sir Little Wolf wants a Courage the Cowardly Dog movie. And Rodin No Last Name says Meet the Feebles was more the Muppet Show than Sesame Street. I could see that. All Jim Henson, but I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And that scene on It when the children's show tells the kid to kill his dad. Interesting. And then Jinju says a Fraggle Rock and Gulliver's Travels mashup where the Fraggles tie down people to cut them up for food. That's
what was the dinosaur movie? Or not the movie, the TV show. It was like dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Yeah, it's just dinosaurs.
Just dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay, yeah, with the little baby that was like throwing.
Not the mama, not the yes,
yeah. The darkest.
And Earl, the blue collar dinosaur that every father in America could fucking relate to.
Yeah, exactly. It was like what's his fuck from Roxanne.
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Yeah.
That's what he reminded me of.
Well, apparently in the live chat, there's a lot of love for the idea of seeing children's shows re-brought back as horror movies or horror IPs. I like the idea as well. I think it worked well. Mr. wrote no last name, Mr. Rogers, serial killer. I personally think
his neighbor.
I think HR Puffin stuff would lead itself to this. I think Barney could lend itself to this.
Barney could I don't know, man.
If you went, because then if you went, because there was Death to Smoochie, but Death to Smoochie wasn't a horror film, but it was definitely a black comedy.
Right.
So if you took Barney and then ran that on the other side, Barney meets like 1 hour photo or some shit. Or Thomas the Tank Engine. Mandela says Thomas the Tank Engine would be a really, really good one as well. So yeah, Sir Little Wolf.
I was thinking Teletubbies.
Teletubbies is already a horror show, isn't it?
It's already a horror show. Have you seen it? Have you ever watched it in black and white?
Have you ever watched the Teletubbies at night?
Yes, I have. That baby that Tony Regime says, what about the Wiggles?
Oh my God. That would be a straight up slasher movie.
So this could lend itself. So why don't I can understand. I think I can understand why studios would not be so quick to jump on this idea of taking beloved icons and making them murderous. As hilarious as we think it is, why wouldn't they jump on this? There seems to be a lot of love for it. Just in this little microcosm of our show.
Wait a second. So you take something like the Wiggles. The Wiggles are fae. So they switch the kids that come on the show with fucking changelings, and there you got a movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, Commander Darklight says, running on the theory that Snuffleupagus is imaginary, he tells Big Bird to kill everyone who doesn't believe he's real. Okay.
Oh, that'd be a good comic.
Sir Little Wolf has got, where in the world is Carmen the serial killer? And Glober Mom says, Dora the Explorer horror.
How many bodies do I have behind me?
How many heads do I have in my trunk?
Shinju, Blue's Clues to murder. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's fucked up that you say that. I read a little comic strip today that was Blue, but Steve is a detective and Blue is a criminal or serial killer. And he's like, I've got all the notes, and the fucking mailbox comes in the front door, and it's just like a man with the fucking mailbox head, and he's like, Steve, we got a letter. He opens it, and he's like, I wonder who it's from. And then it's just every crime scene has one blueprint, and then it's a note that says, be at the ice cream stand, order a vanilla cone or whatever, and it shows Steve running, and he gets there, and the guy's like, I'm supposed to hand the phone to whoever orders a vanilla cone, and he picks up the phone, and she's like, you almost knocked over the lady in the train station. He turns around. He's got a blue paw print. It's fan-fucking-tastic. So it's been done.
Holy shit!
It's been done.
Oh, Charlie Welch said, the count. Uno severed head. Dos severed head. Love that. Yes, Sir Little Wolf brings up Ren and Stimpy, and so did Glober Mom. Says, oh my God, Ren and Stimpy is a serial killing duo, a la Laurel and Hardy. All of these are fantastic. These are fucking great. All right. Man, oh man. So yeah, I think it is something that people could do, that studios could do, but it's dicey. So most likely, but it worked this one time. Doesn't guarantee it's going to work multiple times. It's got to be, the script's got to be solid and special. I think that the advent of Child's Play running off of the bad AI kind of lent itself to this, which is why the Banana Splits movie was able to get the ground that it did. Not to mention, it's old enough and far enough away that most audiences today will look at it and go, the Banana Splits movie, who the fuck are these guys? Oh, it's a children's deal. Then they look into it and they learn all about the history of the show that that debuted back in back in the 60s. So it's an interesting concept. I think that more studios should explore it to get into it, because turning children's IPs on their heads and making them more just expanding them out into this territory, embrace the horror genre, I think is a fun thing for the adults who grew up with this stuff and used to watch it, and now they get to enjoy it. I think we may see the similar thing with Rob Zombie coming out with his version of the Munsters.
No. Why would you even bring that up? What the fuck?
I don't know, because it's something.
That's just supposed to pass, and we're just not supposed to.
Just forget about
pretend it's not there.
Man Devil, the electric company meets Shocker. That's some funny shit. Someone's gonna grab something like this. We're gonna see this in the next 2 years. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a bill. that says you can kill whoever you want one night a year.
I'm sitting there looking at the CTA that we had written out for this particular film.
Already on you.
There seems to be so much love for it.
I got you. Let me do the CTA.
No. I was like, well, pretty much everybody answered the question. But go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
But to ask the audience, because I know we have the original setup, but this is what I want to know, and I already know that the chat is already like throwing ideas out there. But I know we got listeners that will come on later that can comment below or send us an email at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Tell us, what children's show would you love to see a horror version on? Let us know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got Dora the Executioner and Blue's Clues to Murder. Like, let us know, and we'll give you points if you come up with a catchy name for it too. So, what children's show would you love to see a horror version on? Let us know. Comment below. Email us at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Nice.
Let's make it. Oh,
nice,
we can't. There's probably copyright laws against it. I was going to say, let's make it a contest and best one we can put on a T-shirt. But I think there's probably some
there might be some trademark things in there. Definitely. All right. Well, it's about that time. In fact, it is that time. It's absolutely that time. Alex, it's trivia time, baby.
It's trivia time, JL. What are we giving away today?
We are giving away a limited edition number 3 shirt, our fake band that we made up, but may not be fake in the future. The Kink Shaming Cannibals. The Kink Shaming Cannibals shirt. Remember, this particular limited edition shirt will be coming off of the store at the end of August, and that will be it. There's actually 2 versions now. There's a modern version where the logo, the Kink Shaming Cannibals logo, is a little bit more blended into the shirt. The previous one was designed because we took inspiration from old punk bands, how they would just take like their decals and just iron them into the shirt really fast so they could sell them really quick. That was where the inspiration for the old shirt came from. But we put a new one up because it was requested, where it's a little bit more modern looking. It looks a little bit cleaner. So we have 2 versions of that shirt, both of them at the reduced price that we currently have. So definitely check this out. We're giving one away now. The winner of this trivia contest, just tell us which one you want and your size and give us your shipping details. We have a lot of people in the chat. So, man, Alex, take it away.
All right, let's do this. Trivia question tonight is, when the Banana Splits Adventure Hour first debuted in 1968, the show was sponsored by what Battle Creek, Michigan headquartered food company? Once again, when the Banana Splits Adventure Hour first debuted in 1968, the show was sponsored by what Battle Creek, Michigan headquartered food company? Let us know in the live chat for a chance to win one of these badass Kink Shaming Cannibal shirts.
Oh
shit! Whoa, man! Whoa!
Damn.
Okay, dang! I've actually got to look at this because holy shit, those came in fast.
I got Mr. Malort and Glober Mom on top.
I got Mr. Malort first.
I'm on the live chat right now. I'm live chat on the show. On YouTube. So I'm going through that. Let me actually double check to make sure that's the live chat. Yep, and I've got Mr. Malort first.
That's what I got.
That's what I got.
Whoo! Damn, that was fast. 846, 846, 846, 846, 846. Son of a... Everyone answered this exact same way. How the fuck did you all know that?
It wasn't even... that wasn't even fast enough to fucking Google.
Yeah, they all had to know it.
That was
these
all
cats.
known.
Yeah, these cats knew it right up there. I've never seen that on a trivia question. Okay,
I don't know. I'm not old enough to. I didn't even see the original show. So was it like, hey, this show is sponsored by Kellogg's and that's some fucking dopey ass commercial that everybody remembers?
Who was it who just said it? Mr. Blore says because I said Battle Creek.
Okay.
Because I put Battle Creek was the giveaway that it was Kellogg's.
That's not common knowledge for me though.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Oh, and Jinju says I grew up near Michigan. That's how he knew it.
No.
Okay. There we go.
There's some debate from Glover on there.
Let's see. Mr. Blore is second on my chat. Weekend Horror. Let me see. Let me update it real quick, and just to double check. and updating. Make sure I'm on the live chat and scrolling up. And I've got Mandevil said Dahmer the Explorer. What the fuck? Clockwork Rex said the Snorks start sinking ships and eating their victims.
Okay.
And Mr. Malort said Kelligs. So he actually misspelled it twice. He put Kelligs and then he put Kelligs again. But I do have Mr. Malort first, and we've never said that spelling was an issue. But I do have Mr. Malort first and Glober Mom immediately after.
Yeah, honestly, it was like whoever hit enter first or whoever's internet was faster, because all three of us have Mr. Malort first. Yeah,
so I've just got let's see, Commander Darklight says only for you because your display doesn't have the lag. It does this to me all the time. Yeah, and the live chat on the actual like show on YouTube, and I'm in the StreamYard chat. The StreamYard chat has Mr. Malort first, and the live chat in the in the actual YouTube channel has Mr. Malort first as well. Not to mention Alex and Eugene picked him up. But close, Glober Mom, so close. I promise you'll get it in there eventually, yes. But congratulations to Mr. Malort for crushing it. We will get your shirt. I think I've got your shipping details, but definitely let me know which one you want, the modern or the throwback version. You'll see a differentiation in the logo. And just let me know which one of those, and of course your size. I don't think I have that written down. But yeah, cool, awesome. Damn, that was fast. Holy shit! I was expecting us to chat a little bit while they were looking.
Decapitate me, Elmo. Fuck.
Decapitate me or Elmo. That's sweet. That's fucking amazing. All right, well, congratulations to our trivia winner, Mr. Malort. Do appreciate it. One of our amazing patrons as well. And that will bring another episode of Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening. We truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when actor and producer Chance Gibbs of the upcoming Amityville Cult and Bad Folks joins us as we look back at Event Horizon, Freddy vs. Jason, The Cell, and it got some play in today's episode, An American Werewolf in London. It's going to be a big episode next week. We'd like to send a special shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us make the show the success it has become. Thank you all so very, very much. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. We love them over there. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Followers can get our daily splatter, a little bit of horror info every single day right to your feed. You never know what new horrors you may discover. Subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for all the latest updates from the show. We really hope you enjoyed this new live format. We'd love to get your feedback on it. Be sure to leave us a comment below, as those interactions really help us with the dreaded algorithm. Dun, 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 dun. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and would like and are able to support this production, you can through our Patreon. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1 a month. Bonus and exclusive content, and of course, horror films every month for our higher tiers. However, if you prefer, you can support the show with a one-time payment through our PayPal as well. Links to all of this, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact with us directly, are in the description below. And don't forget, next Friday, Friday the 13th, it's the big day for us. We will be doing a full Friday the 13th marathon in our Discord channel. Be sure to see us there. And while the country is finally beginning to recover from recent events, we know that things are still really, really tight for a lot of people. And as always, simply commenting, liking, sharing the show with your friends in your local horror community is the best way to help us continue to grow. We appreciate each and every single one of you for being the greatest audience a podcast like ours could have. I am JL.
And I'm Eugene.
I'm Alex.
We will see you all next week. And as always, stay scared.